Hello! Welcome to Levels Plus Weekly, the show whose title seems to go against what's been happening lately. I apologize for missing 2 weeks. The first week was a planned day off, or week off. I was working on Evolve primarily, and then last weekend I started working pretty heavily on Nintendo. I put up 4 different articles for it. I've got 2 more to go that I'm aware of. But I recorded footage, and you're going to kind of hear a fan in the background, and I apologize again for that extra bit of noise, but it's hot where I live, and I reframed the shooting so that way I'm not affecting the wind that the fan's making. So hopefully this time it'll be better. And I'm hoping that the laptop's not too loud either, because I don't really have it covered up, because covering it up in this temperature is not great. Basically, Levels Plus Weekly is going to be experimental for a little bit, trying to figure out how to film when it's warm in the afternoon, or if it's all going to just have to shift to being a morning show, because once the AC starts going, which is over there, you might have seen it in the background a few times, it's covered up by a curtain right now. Once the AC's going, it's going to be just an adventure. But we'll work through it, we'll make it happen. As you see here, I've got some things that I'm going to talk about, including this cute little Astro City Mini that you can kind of see. So we'll do the pickups first, and then I've got a plea to Sega, which is appropriate since we're going to be covering this little Astro City Mini a bit. I'm going to try to do all this in one shoot with as few edits as possible, because I'm really into book mode right now. That's where my head is. So I want to really be focusing on that on the weekends. So I want to make this as smooth as I can. So let's go ahead and start with the Famicom pickups. We'll start with the disk system stuff. So this here is Stinger in North America. It's Moero Twinbee, very long subtitle, in Japan. This originally came out on the disc system, but they did re-release it on a cartridge in Japan a little bit later. But I wanted to get the disc system version because it came out in 1986. And Winbee, which is the pink one, that's kind of hard to see there, is piloted by Whip, a woman. And that carries through to Twinbee 3, which comes out, I believe, in 1989. So we'll be seeing a bit more of Twinbee on Nintendo, but they'll be appearing in the first book. This here is Cleopatra something. As always, there'll be an actual proper name underneath here. I can't read Japanese, and I don't remember the titles well enough, and fussing around with the laptop while I'm doing this just slows it down. So this is from Square under their DOG label, and it's a graphic adventure / light RPG game. And then this is Titanic Mystery, basically. It's got a longer name than that. This one I wish I actually did get complete like these two. These two come with the manual. This one does not. The manual did come with a little manga in there detailing some of the backstory. This is a strange game though, because it's a port of a PC game from North America, and they added 3 women as the protagonists that weren't in the PC game at all. And as the article details, it's all kind of superfluous, because no matter who you pick, they all look the same. And then we've got 4 carts, and I have to tell you that I am just like beside myself, as always when I get this stuff. that actually have some of these. So here is Mappy Land, which I actually own the North American version of at one point, but I sold it, not realizing I was going to be writing about Mapiko later. Mapiko is one of those characters that I upgraded from just a minor character to a major one because so much of that game revolves around Mapiko and making her happy. So that article is now up on the site. I did that one over the weekend. And then Layla, the most expensive cart I think I bought yet for this. Layla's popped up 3 times since I've been doing this. And each time, it's like I'm waiting for it to get cheaper and cheaper and someone buys it. So I didn't really do that this time. So it was, it got discounted once, so it was under 60 bucks. It was about 55, I want to say. So yeah, probably the most expensive cart yet, outside of maybe the Guardian Legend being a bit more. Next is Space Hunter by Kemco. This is one of the earliest games with a woman in such a prominent role on the cover. And then this is Arabian Nights Entertainment, I think is the Japanese name, but it's The Magic of Scheherazade in its original form. So this one is another one that I actually have both of the versions ready to go. So that's really cool. I won't have to buy that twice. So that's all of the new stuff. For book 1, I only have 2 more games to buy. One is actually there at the site that I buy these from right now, and it's really cheap, but I'm kind of sitting a little bit because the other stuff I have on there is not as cheap, so I'm just being patient. And then book 2 has quite a few still to pick up, but especially with the sports stuff, which I keep finding more stuff for, which is awesome and annoying at the same time. And then I also got the Astro City Mini from Limited Run Games with a controller. So here's that. This controller I assume I could use on the Genesis and the TurboGrafx because of the way that they plug, but I haven't tried that out yet. I just booted this up literally just now, so but what does the Astro City Mini have on it? Well, it has Plicky, Sega Ninja or Ninja Princess, My Hero, Space Harrier, Fantasy Zone, Wonder Boy, Quartet 2, which is not a sequel to Quartet, it's a 2-player version of it. Alex Kidd with Stella, The Lost Stars, Alien Syndrome, Wonder Boy and Monsterland, Shinobi, Sonic Boom, which is not a Sonic game. It looks like it's a shoot 'em up. Altered Beast, Scramble Spirits, Wonder Boy 3, Monster Lair, Game Ground, Crackdown, Golden Axe, Cyber Police Eastwatch, Shadow Dancer, Alien Storm, Columns, Bonanza Brothers, Columns 2, Thunder Force AC, Rad Mobile, Cotton, which is the one licensed game on here that Sega did not originally produce, Arabian Fight, Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder, which is why I have this thing, honestly. Puyo Puyo, Dark Edge, Tant R, Virtua Fighter, Stack Columns, Ichitant R, Puyo Puyo 2, and Dotori-kun, which is a cute little test game that all Astro City boards had on it. So yeah, it's got a solid mix. There's just some things that are surprising that it doesn't have. So like it doesn't have any of the Afterburner games or Outrun or Hang On. So all of those are not here. Zaxxon and like Congo Bongo and other early stuff like that's not here. And then it only has Virtua Fighter. That's the only 3D game that's featured on here. So it's like it would have been neat if maybe they got into like Virtua Fighter Kids or Virtual Racing or some of the stuff like that. I wouldn't expect like Daytona USA to be on here. But it's all titles that came out on the Astro City line of games, so I'm guessing that's why some of the early stuff's not there and why some of the later stuff's not there. And like some of the super scalar stuff had specific cabinets, so that's probably why some of it's not here. But overall, the selection seems solid. I haven't played it, like I said, but I'm really excited to have this. It does plug into the TV, and it does have this little screen which you can see lit up here. You can't make out anything on it from where the camera's situated, but it might be kind of fun, maybe in the future when I figure out how to better stream stuff, to do like a little ranked video on all of these games and talk about them. I think that would be a lot of fun. For now, I'm in the middle of Dragon Quest XI still. I took a break from that to play Lost Words Beyond the Page, which I was not as excited about as I hoped I would be. And that might be something that I talk about another day. But let's go ahead and turn this off, and we'll cat intermission here. Normally we don't do the pickups part first, but I felt like I've been accumulating stuff over these last few weeks, and I've been wanting to show them off, so that's why we're starting with that. So we'll cat intermission here, and then I'll jump into my plea to Sega. Welcome back. I brought some guests. They're sky pirates, but they're not going to hurt anybody. They're actually out to help the people that are in most desperate need. So yes, Skies of Arcadia Legends. That's what I'm talking about this second part, and I suppose I should tell you why. So Sega had a financial meeting recently. Here's the link so you can see what I'm talking about. And talked about a whole bunch of dormant IPs that they are considering bringing back. And some of those include like Knights and Shinobi and Panzer Dragoon and Streets of Rage and Jet Set Radio. I think House of the Dead was on there. There's a couple others that aren't immediately leaping to mind. But, you know, some of those made sense. We've had Panzer Dragoon from Forever Entertainment, and we've had Wonder Boy and Monster World, and Streets of Rage 4 from .emu. Both of those are superb. Panzer Dragoon I haven't played yet, so I can't really comment. So Sega's seeing success with other companies taking some of their dormant IPs and doing something with them. And I think that they're going, hey, what if we do that? So, missing from that list, Skies of Arcadia. And Skies of Arcadia is one of the best games Sega's ever made. In my opinion, it is the best game Sega's ever made. It's in my top 10. I love Skies of Arcadia. I really should replay Legends sometime soon. The problem is I don't have a way to do it with my HDMI TV. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get my GameCube, aka the Wii, working on that. But that's another topic altogether. I adore Skies of Arcadia. It is one of the most incredible games I've ever played in terms of story, characterization, and exploration. It has a wonderful world that they developed with a really excellent handling of different cultures for the most part. A soundtrack that is wide-ranging and excellent all the way through. Incredible battle engines for both ship combat and face-to-face. And the Legends port added in a lot of additional content and made the Dreamcast VMU game stuff a lot easier to access. It's just a beautifully executed game all the way around. I do have an article on ways I would improve it, which I'll share here, because no game is perfect. But on the whole, Skies of Arcadia is Sega's crown jewel in its entire history for me. And I think a lot of people maybe not praise it quite that highly, but would consider it among Sega's best work that they've ever done. And yet, every time the topic of Skies of Arcadia comes up with Sega, Japan specifically, it just seems to fall on deaf ears. Reiko Kodama, who was the director or producer, I don't remember exactly which one she was on Skies. Every time that she's been asked about it, she just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of interest in it, which is unfortunate because it's such a wonderful game. But there is some interest in the property that has happened. We've got a lovely vinyl and CD reissue of the soundtrack, as well as a really nice music box, which I have resisted the siren call for. That Wayo Records did, that has this lovely art. This beautiful artwork that they commissioned the original artist, Itsuki Hoshi, to do, shows that she hasn't lost a step. In fact, I would say that the art on that is like really, really, really good. It's some of my favorite Skies of Arcadia art. There was the first 5 figure of Vice that was part of a Sega All-Stars lineup. I never went for that. I'm not the biggest fan of first 5, and their prices are usually way out of the league that I want to pay. So, and then the last time that they were in a game proper was Sega and Sonic All-Star Racing. Sonic All-Star Racing Transforms. It's such a long name. Vice was a playable character in that, and there was a track based on the game. That was lovely. They also, the main cast, which is Vice, Aika, and Fina, which you can kind of see there, also appeared in Valkyria Chronicles in the first game. Vice and Aika were soldiers, and Fina was one of many of the field medics that all look the same. So clearly there is some love for this game. And there's also been some tweeting by some staff about Skies of Arcadia and wanting to bring it back. So, with Sega now talking about reviving dormant IPs, let's remaster Skies of Arcadia Legends. This game right here. Because this is the definitive version of the game, save some audio issues. When they ported it to the GameCube, they had to compress the audio a little bit. It's not terrible, unless you are really, really sensitive to those types of things. But let's do it. Let's remaster this amazing game, because it costs a lot of money to buy it on the resale market, and you're not making any of that, Sega. You're not making a dime on the resale market for either of these games. I love Skies so much, I bought this again. I've got the Japanese version of Skies of Arcadia Legends sitting in my cart right now. Because that's how much I love this game. And I wish I would be giving you that money. Because I want to, but you're not allowing me to do so. Re-release Skies of Arcadia Legends HD. And up the sound. And maybe do a few other little tweaks here and there. And you'll have tons of people just hammering at your door, thanking you for doing it. Not even lying. I've seen so many people that I know personally, just every year, and their predictions slash speculation slash wish list for the year say Skies of Arcadia HD. Skies of Arcadia HD. It's on mine. I'd buy it again. I already own it twice. Thinking about a third time. I would buy it again. So you have a market just waiting for it. And what we need is for Sega US to push harder on Sega Japan, which, if we know the history of Sega, we know how well that goes, don't we? But honestly, Sega of Japan, you have an amazing game right here that people will happily buy if you remaster it. I'm not even saying make a sequel. Just re-release the original game in an HD format with the audio as nice as it is on the Dreamcast one. And you will make so many people happy, and you will sell a lot of copies. That's my plea to you. And with that, I think we'll end the Sega section. And I think I do want to talk about Lost Words a little bit. So let's cat transition one last time, and we'll cover Lost Words Beyond the Page. So Lost Words Beyond the Page came out a couple weeks ago on the Switch. It's been on Apple Arcade for a little while. It's by Modus Games and was developed by Sketchbook Games. It's a game that I was really excited about. I loved the premise. Rhianna Pratchett was involved, and she's a great writer. I've enjoyed a lot of the games that she's written, and the look was charming. So when I actually started playing it about a week and a half ago, I was a little bummed. I hate to be a downer, but the control on this game is not what I expected. So there's two main parts. You have a journal section where you are Izzy, and you are watching yourself write words and draw or paint and emote, basically. And I think that this part of the game is well handled. I don't really have a complaint about this part. The voice acting's solid. You feel the emotion. It's really gripping. That's the part that I really connected with. Izzy is writing a story about a young woman named Robin, who is in a fantasy world, basically kind of going through a lot of the same emotional turmoil as Izzy is. And I'm not going to ruin what the story is, but it is very emotional on Izzy's perspective, and I think it's really well written and well handled. The problem is when you get to Robin's part of the game, where it doesn't feel like the gameplay piece was as well thought out. And what do I mean by that? So Robin herself doesn't have a lot of moves. She jumps, she can crawl, and she can run, and she has a word book that has various spells in there. And that's basically what you got. And like, you don't need a deep, complex move set to make a good game. So that's not what I'm saying. The problem is that it just feels like this piece of the game wasn't as well programmed and designed as the other part. Robin glitches a lot, so like there's times where I'm trying to crawl, but the crawl animation just doesn't happen, and I just start moving through the space, standing up, but my bottom half of Robin's body is through the ground. And that happened probably about 5 times. Robin's control is slow. She's sluggish. So like if I want to turn around, it takes a bit for her to change momentum. Her jumping is a little floaty. But the biggest issue with Lost Words is the book, the word book. This game was designed, I think, for touch. And even though I played it in handheld, I didn't really think about doing that because, as you know, if you've listened to me talk about my DS or Wii collection, I'm very particular about control schemes. And like most of the DS games that I have, I don't really like touch controls. So I just didn't even try to see if it was something I could do with Lost Words. But basically how the game works is you open a book and you pull a word off, and then you drag that word around to do something. But it's really clunky because it doesn't move very quickly, like your Firefly cursor. So when you grab something, it's like you have to, if you don't open the book in the right place, you have to pull it across the screen slowly. And if it doesn't work, then the word just kind of hangs out there and you grab a different one. And you have to repeat that same process. And it just got really kind of frustrating. It reminded me a bit of Shantae, Half Genie Hero, and Transformations. That if only there was a faster way to select words, and if it was a faster way to use them, I think this game would have been much better. Because a lot of it is just grinding to a halt to open the word book, pull the word out, and then use it. Another thing about the cursor is that it fluctuates, it flutters when you move suddenly. So if you're running or doing a slide, all of a sudden you just have this fluttering going on like this, and it was really distracting. So like Robin's talking and I'm not paying attention because my eyes are being driven to this little wavy thing in front of my face. So it just really felt like the fantasy Robin piece of this just wasn't well put together. The voice actress for Izzy is also Robin's as well, and I feel at points that while as Izzy she did a great job, as Robin there were times that it just didn't work as well, and I'm wondering if that should have been a different voice actress, because they did cast different people for everything else. I don't hate the game. I thought that it was good, but I just wanted more from it. I wanted the fantasy piece, the part that I was actually more excited about, to be stronger than it ended up being. It just really felt like it needed a few more months in development to just tighten up some of these control things, the glitches, and maybe find alternate means to interact with the book. So yeah, I can't give like a wholehearted recommendation for Lost Words. At the moment, it's my low point, I think, of the year. And it's not like I said, it's a good game, and it has a really emotional story. It made me cry. It's that type of game, as a heads up. But I honestly couldn't play it for very long. Sunday I just kind of muscled through the end of it because I knew I was near the end. But it's like I'd have to play like a part, and then I was like, I'm good. So it took me about 2 weeks to get through this game, and it's not very long. It's like maybe 6-7 hours. So sometimes games just don't realize their full potential, and that's what I feel happened here. I think that the studio is very talented. I just think it needed more time. So there you go. That's the end of Levels Plus Weekly, episode 21. We got through the whole thing in one day. I have nothing else coming that I'm aware of, so this should be it. So I hope that this episode makes up for the lack of episodes the last 2 weeks. It was nice recording again. Hope that there's not a loud, grindy laptop at any point through here. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.